Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Battlefield Project podcast. I'm joined by one of my good friends here, Jeff G. He's also a business partner of mine. I was fortunate enough to get to know him pretty quick when he launched this business, Signer 57. And I was like, Jeff, I want to be part of it. And he was gracious enough to welcome me into the brand. So I'm super excited to have him on this podcast. So the Battlefield Project podcast is the podcast for people who understand that life is a battle and only the strong will thrive. So yes, we need to survive, but more than anything, I think we're all meant to thrive in life. And I think a lot of people assume that the successful in the world have it easy, have a red carpet laid out for them, and that's why they are where they are. And that is never the case. And the reason for this podcast is to basically shine a light on my guests, have them share some of the battles that they've experienced and how they overcame those battles. And because of that, the wonderful life that they're living right now. So I'm going to introduce Jeff here, and his bio made me laugh. It always makes me laugh, so I'm probably going to laugh here. The first line of it cracks me up. Jeff does business in your bedroom, not by what you think. He's the co-owner of Gardner's Mattress and More, the region's premier better sleep store. He is fanatical about the five-star experience and has gathered thousands of five-star reviews. I can vouch for that. We've used his company for our own beds here, and it's a phenomenal service product. Customer service is second to none. His book, Sleep Better, has helped thousands of people wake up happy too. As a driven entrepreneur, he has licensed both his own custom software and educational marketing materials to others in his industry and in other industries. Jeff's marketing skills and knowledge are regularly featured and acknowledged online, in books, and in magazines. I was fortunate enough to share a stage with him a couple of weeks ago. I guess at this point, guys, like a month and a half ago. And he's just a phenomenal speaker, phenomenal at business, all the above. He's the best suited working with clients in a fractional visionary role with high-performing integrators who realize they can hit new levels, but just need an ally and a visionary to support their efforts to get there. I was going to say Jeff and then your last name, but I constantly fumble my way through that. So I'm going to refer to you as Jeff G. But Jeff, right. Thanks for being here, dude. I appreciate you. I appreciate you joining us and sharing any battles you had in life, how you overcame them, and giving some insights and value to our audience, man.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. It's always just smart to tap out on Giagnocavo and just go Jeff G. For the longest time, when I was in the wholesale side of the furniture and mattress industry, I had an AOL email, which, dates me. Yeah. But it was Jeff G, the rep at AOL, which I still have, but I haven't been in there forever. The Jeff G is like, that's just kind of what I've become known. I don't expect people to join in that tomfoolery. No offense. Of spelling it, saying it, all that good stuff. So I guess for me, I don't know, the shield, the battle, the thing I've taken up, accepted is that contrarian position in life, and really kind of making hay within that position and in understanding there's opportunity there, I guess is what I would say. Mm-hmm. So if I unpack that a little bit, and I guess you want me to just kind of go on for a little bit and then you'll jump in.
Yep.
Yeah. So what I mean by that, I'll just kind of take you back. So I've got 20 years in the furniture mattress industry. As Matt wrapped up my intro, I do, for lack of a better term, consulting work, although I hate that word because it's not really the core of what I do. I bring my visionary skills into a business and really help that well-run and operated business just get past their industry norms, which needs that contrarian viewpoint to do, which is one of my skills. But if I go back and unpack, like making money being the contrarian, doing things opposite, I was at a point in my career in the wholesale industry, serving other retailers, where I was just hitting this roadblock. I was crushing it with the independent accounts and the, regional accounts, but could never just really take that next step. And I decided that because I don't have legacy in the industry, which is a thing, like in the furniture industry, a lot of industries, right, are very insular. They're very, for lack of a better term, very incestuous. It's literally the representation lineage of the industry is that it's lineage. It's, your grandfather had the territory, and it was basically willed to the father and then willed to the grandson, and it's brought in, and there's multi-generational rep teams. Not so much today, but going back 15, 20 years ago, as I got my start, there were. And I recognized that early on, which I think is important for people to understand and really step back and like say, well, what are the actual roadblocks? Is it me? Is it the product? Is it the service? Is it the competitive marketplace? Is it, in this case, is it the fact that, the competing rep I was going against, his grandpa bought from the retailer's grandpa. I went up against a rep on the road who, I swear to God, was like the best man at everybody's wedding in the territory.
Yeah.
And now, fast forward to present day, as I co-own a retail store, he is now one of my vendors, and all the stories I heard, they were all true.
Yeah.
Like, he was the best. He was in everybody's wedding. He was so well connected, and it was because of that multi-generational thing. So the contrarian approach that I found was, I just got to approach this far, far differently. So I just started bringing the show to every retailer's front door. And what I did is I bought a Mercedes Sprinter van, and I threw mattress samples in the back of that van. And I put 30, 40, 50,000 miles a year on the road. What changed, 30 to 50,000 miles is a big divide. What changed is the amount of flight time I had in the year. But if I wasn't on the road, I was in the air. And, but I took the show to the retailers, and that was very new. It was very aggressive. It was a word that was associated with me and my name. But I could not be denied, and quickly began to get some success, and then build the territory. And, for me, I had at one point, I was shipping $15 million of product at wholesale in the territory. Now, the problem with that is, when you start shipping that kind of volume, your sales managers and the vice president of sales within the company, and even maybe the CEO, starts looking at the commission check they're writing, and they say, that's more than I make. And then it becomes a negotiation. And that's one thing for me is, don't ever count my money.
Yeah.
If I sell, if I transact at the agreed upon rate, I expect the money to be in the mailbox.
Rightfully so.
And I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't. I actually didn't get hired for a line once because the sales manager asked me. She had said, so what would be a way that you would be frustrated with us and you would maybe not represent us in a week or in a month's time? Like, what would put us bottom of the bag? In other words, the rep's suitcase, briefcase, bag of lines they carry around, what would be at the bottom? I said, not paying me. She's like, well, that's pretty selfish. I said, selfish?
Excuse me?
Right. Yeah. Right. Like, your reaction was my reaction. I said, selfish. I said, this is the relationship.
Yeah.
We are not family.
I don't do pro bono work.
That was like strike 2 and 3. She's like, well, we think of our people as family. I said, can I come to your house at Christmas?
Yeah.
Can I go to your vacation house down in Virginia Beach that I know you have?
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, like, so we're not family.
Yeah.
I said, look, I want to be agreeable. I want to have fun. I want to support your mission. I said, remember, I had like 9 retailers recommend me for this role.
Yeah.
I don't know that anybody else you're interviewing has that many, but if they do, maybe go with that person.
Yeah.
But, the fact of the matter is, let's be very honest with one another, because that's where our relationship begins. Yeah. Honesty. And again, from that contrarian position, like, that's in this, especially now in 2022. I mean, my gosh,
yeah.
If you espouse that the one thing that will end a relationship is money, I mean, like, just hear that it's the bus backing up over you.
Yeah,
right.
You're getting canceled right away.
Yeah, as societal norms just drive all over your dead corpse. So yeah, I mean, for me, it's always been that contrarian approach, and that happens now in our current business at Gardeners. it's where I push anybody I work with, like, step outside of your norms and what your industry's doing, and you're going to immediately be different and
Yeah.
immediately snap the neck of your potential customers, prospects, clients, patients, whatever you call them.
Yeah.
Just that alone, you'll be immediately different because you're unlike every other option out there.
Yeah. I think too, like, so the two examples you just gave, I feel like the one you like the contrarian situation where you had to go into that mode with the Mercedes mattresses in the back, travel and all, like, and being called aggressive, you won in that regard because like you did what needed to be done. You took an aggressive approach. So you're like, okay, challenge, battle, understood. What's my solution? Is it to like passively play the game with everybody and hope for something good to happen? No, not
Right.
really. Like, I'm going to get aggressive and I'm going to like bust the door down and get what I want. And then in the second situation with that lady and being, her asking you that question and you playing the role of like, I'm just going to be honest and like, say something you're probably not used to hearing, contrary to what you want to hear. Did you get that job?
No,
No. So like,
no.
so in that regard, you lost because you stuck to your guns and played. But in that loss, I'm sure what like the next thing that happened was probably better for you, and like the universe was just guiding you in that direction.
Well, so the close the loop on that story. 6 months later, they went out of business in
Yeah.
fantastic fashion. They were essentially, at the time of my sit down, they were essentially in bankruptcy without being in. They had 2 out of 3 of their vendors in the process of finding a third to force bankruptcy, because
Yeah.
that's a little known thing that can happen is 3 of your creditors can force you into bankruptcy if you owe the money.
Wow.
Uh,
Okay.
in a business to business setting. So you can, like, just know that if you're listening and you have a business and you're struggling and you're not being forthright with your relationships, if they all can gang up on you, that can happen. And in this case, that is what happened.
Yeah.
So I would have done a bunch of work, likely had delays in being paid, and that it would have all crashed and burned 6 months later, which is just terrible as an independent rep, because all
Yeah.
you've got is your word, your territory, and your time.
Yeah.
And your word is non-negotiable, as is really your territory, because it's your relationships with your customers.
Mm-hmm.
And then where you really make money is within the time, how you operate with those people.
Yeah.
So I'd have lost 6 months, but I'd have lost more because I would have been building, residual stuff as time goes along. So,
And I
yeah,
think even like you said,
yeah.
your word is non-negotiable. That's how it should be. And, for high achievers and successful people, not even just money, but like happy success, that's true. But for a lot of people, it's probably not. And, someone would have gone into that interview with that lady. She would have asked that question and it would have been like, how can I answer this to appease her to make sure like I get this job? Because like, I've been recommended, this is what I'm here to do. And you just blow some smoke just to get the job. And then you're not being true to yourself, staying true to your word. And then, like you said, 6 months later, the universe is going to crack you upside the head and be like, this is what you get for like, going for the quick win or like the easy out. And you shouldn't have played that game. You should have stayed true to your word, man. So I think this is a really cool call, because I think when people are faced with challenges, there's one of two options. It's like, just go with it, or like stay true to yourself, true to your word, true to who you are, and be aggressive and just fight through it, or like make it happen. And sometimes that's going to work in your favor, like immediately, like, selling the mattresses and being like the best rep in that region because you threw shit in the back of your van and just like got it done. And sometimes that approach is you're going to lose in the moment, or what feels like a loss in the moment, because it didn't work out. But through that, have the faith that like, if this didn't work out, it's because something better is right around the corner. And when you're true to your word and you're true to your integrity and all those adjectives that make a good human being, that almost always is the case. That like you might get crapped on in that moment, but like you said, you avoided a 6-month disaster by being true to yourself. And the next opportunity that presented itself, you had the opportunity to take advantage of, because you weren't spending 3 or 6 months in a shithole of a job because you blew smoke up someone's ass because you were like, my integrity is not that important. I'm not going to be honest with this lady. I'm just going to say what she wants to hear. And and here you are, years later, you got your mattress store, like super successful, probably the most successful in the region, like step. And through all those steps, stay true to who you are, and you're going to get to the Holy Land at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a position that I've, I'm sure some of your other guests get far more personal. I've got all that stuff. I mean, man, our family, personal trauma, all that stuff, man. You could have a 6-part miniseries on Lifetime.
Yeah.
I can,
Yeah.
it's there. It's not something I enjoy talking about, but it's there. No, it's there. It's not. I'm not one of these people that have had that easy path, and not at all. I mean, I graduated high school, essentially, homeless. Uh, 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 I was in a motorcycle accident, in a coma, and family didn't know that it had happened. I went through the whole process, and no one was the wiser. Thank God I had a good friend circle at the time.
Yeah.
To help me. And I tell you what, when you can't move your arms and you're like this for a few weeks, and you have to use the bathroom, who your friends,
You
who
need
your true
help.
friends are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but I've got all that. And then I've got all the business stuff. Just to give a little story on the aggressive thing. And I mean, again, this is where people have a choice in life of things they can do to succeed, or when they just choose to throttle back. So there were a handful of times over the years, competitively, I wanted, let's say, the guy or gal in town, and it was getting hard to get that yes. So I would get an appointment, but I would set that appointment maybe for 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. And I would do it whenever this competing store down the street that I maybe wasn't selling wasn't yet open. And I would literally open up the van from the side and like lay samples out in the parking lot, hoping that the one I wanted to get would drive by and see me.
Yeah. Smart. Super smart.
And it happened because the marching orders for that company, it was and it's so odd because now this was value oriented mattress product.
Yeah.
Like now I sell a king, less snore, more cuddle sleep system set for what I used to sell a whole truckload of bedding for at wholesale.
Yeah.
So like it's so wild, the bookends that I've operated on, or the spectrum that I've operated on. But yeah, I would tell people, look, I have to sell everybody. Now we can work together and develop a program for you. But either the reality is you're going to sell this line or you're going to sell against it. And that's not meant to be a threat. It's not meant to say, I'm going to put you out of business. It's the simple reality is we've got tremendous value. And I want to demonstrate that to you. And I'm going to bring it to your front door. So I did the Zig Ziglar thing. Zig Ziglar, one of the greatest salespeople in the world, when he sold pots and pans door to door. The whole goal of a pots and pan salesman back in the day, door to door, was to get in the house and get the kit spread out on the kitchen table and the kitchen floor.
Yeah.
Because that gave you time. Because even if you had no on top of nose on top of nose, you still had to pack the whole dang setup.
And you can talk and sell through that packing setup. Yeah,
exactly. So it was like Zig Ziglar pots and pans, modern day. I mean, this is like 2007, 2008, when I still did this kind of stuff in 2009, where I would literally orchestrate the whole demonstration, right? And demonstration without a presentation is just conversation, or presentation without demonstration is just conversation.
Yeah.
So I would like literally do it. And a couple times it happened. They drove by, they saw me, they slowed down. and then I would go to that point, like, did I just see you down the street at my competitor? I'm like, yeah.
Here's what I was doing.
Well, then what are you doing here? I said, well, I told you. I said, I'm working the territory and I'm looking to make a decision to align with my A partner, my B partner, my C partner.
Yeah.
I want you to be my A partner.
Yeah.
You open to a conversation about that? So like, I want to give people the thought, like, you can push hard, or you can step back and think of different ways to get that yes.
Yeah.
Right. And really it kind of comes down to like listening, like that example of interviewing for a line and it just didn't go well. And 6 months later, they're out of business. Like, you really need to pay attention to things that are told to you.
Yeah.
And you need to look around and take in and say to yourself, well, like in that moment, one of the red flags I had is all of my recommendations were really great. And I very much appreciated them with those retail partners I had. But the reality is I knew that there were some bigger ones bigger retailers, bigger rep organizations that were also in the running. So why I was even being considered in the first place was a flag to me.
Yeah.
Um, but you just kind of have to step back and listen to some of those things, really take it in,
Yeah.
and digest, think more, plan more, orchestrate more, and study more. Like the pots and pans example, I'm pretty sure a lot of people hearing that might be the first time that they've heard.
Guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm in sales.
So,
like I love sales, but yeah.
right. And Zig Ziglar is like one of the like if there's a Mount Rushmore of salespeople who are no longer with us, he's on it.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I mean, there's a lot of greats now. There's a lot of greats back in the day. There's a lot of greats that are retired, but like studying history, because it does repeat, is very, very, very important. Like I'd made a post on social media for an event that I'm doing next week, and essentially a week from today. And it was a long post. But I was able to track the clicks on that post through the links. And that post was one of the most popular posts to get links clicked on. Today everybody would tell you, oh, a post like that, nobody's going to read it. Well,
160 characters or less, or whatever it is. It's
right. Yeah. To that, I just say, there's a Jerry Seinfeld quote. There's no such thing as short attention span, but there is a thing called lack of entertaining.
I was just going to say boredom, but yeah, same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So if the person you're putting your message in front of is entertained, interested, engaged,
yep,
you can talk forever. You can write forever.
Yep.
You can speak forever, so long as they continue to be entertained. So I mean, for me, just as we kind of jump in, well, we've been jumped in here. That's kind of where I thought I would take our conversation.
Yeah.
Contrarian viewpoint. I
love the last, like the insight you just shared there at the end there too, about not like aggressive doesn't mean like I'm going to follow up with you via email 75 times because your competitors are only doing it 10 times and I'm going to outperform them with boring follow-up emails. It's like aggressive can just be like one extra item or one extra move, but it's a creative, different move that is outside the box that they're not seeing. Like it doesn't have to be the number of times. It could just be one time done really, really, really well.
Well, I would put out, and I put this out today against, the competitors that I have today, is your definition of aggressive. Does that mean something you're unwilling to do or haven't thought of or wouldn't do at all, would never consider? Are you that arrogant that you think you don't have to do that?
Yeah.
Like my main competitor on the road, I never met the guy, never shook his hand. I met a lot of reps. I was friendly with a lot of reps, referred a lot of deals out, gave a lot of, I believed in the network effect. If I'm on the road and I heard of a retailer that was looking for a lamp line, I made sure I knew a couple of reps that had good lamp lines. Yeah. I don't want anything to do with that. I don't know anything about decor. You can look behind me on the video here and you can see it's not really like.
It's pretty solid. Pretty solid game.
It's okay, but like, a true decor person would do it better. So I would just refer that out. And I always made it a point to do that.
Yeah.
But I always made it a point to remind people that I did refer to them.
Yep.
But this particular rep just hated my guts, never met him, never shook his hand. Never took the time to get to know me, even though we crossed paths often. But we never once met in person. But he was the one that assigned me as aggressive. But really, I said to at one point, I said, I kind of think my level of aggressive defines their level of inaction.
Exactly.
Unwillingness to work.
Yeah. And then they're going to throw a label on you that has a negative connotation to like diminish your effort and be like, oh, he's aggressive. Like, no, I'm just getting the job done and you're not willing to do it. So if that means I'm the bad guy and you want to call me aggressive, fucking I win, you lose. Like, let's go to battle.
Yeah, exactly. And like we do things in our present business that many others wouldn't consider, say, oh, you can't afford to do that. Well, I don't know. We pay our bills. We pay ourselves well. My business partner and I, we have profit at the end of the year.
Yeah. Customers are happy.
The simple numbers, like we love on our customers. if you buy one of our less snore, more cuddle sleep systems, you're getting, I don't know, I think it's like $150 in gifts over
Yeah.
the course of the first 9 months that you're with us.
Yeah.
And you're immediately leaving with like $60 in value.
Yeah.
Immediately. Because it's kind of odd, right? Like you spend $8,000 in my store and you leave with a sheet of paper, your invoice.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't carry over, like a piece of paper doesn't carry over the emotion of solving your sleep problems and being on a high about doing so.
Yep.
So we create a less snore, more cuddle drinkware, like from Hydro Flask. Think Yeti. Hydro Flask is the second one, but we do a nice coffee tumbler or tumbler, drink tumbler, and then a Hydro Flask, and let you pick your choice of two because you're a couple.
Yeah.
Don't have to fight over. It's really nice. It's a great color. It's not brash in your face logos like the Big Ticket Life logo over my shoulder. But it's something people would happily carry around. They take it to yoga class.
Yeah.
And again, we thought it out. The color was very different because it stands out. You can give it to your kid to take to baseball because along the line of black, red, and white,
all black containers. Yeah. Yep.
It's going to stick it out. But we love on our customers that way. And people, and again, the contrarian approach is you can't do that.
It kills profits.
I can absolutely do it. And I do it all the time.
And I'm super successful and happy doing it.
I mean, my general rule of thumb is if it improves the customer experience, I'll spend on it.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be more referrals. It's going to be more reviews. So, that's where I push and I look to thrive with that viewpoint of things, being the contrarian.
Man, if there are any business owners watching this, which I know there are, and you didn't just take some kind of notes, or you don't leave, we end this now and you don't sit there and grab a pen and paper and jot some kind of ideas down, you just weren't listening. Because I mean, I've heard you talk about the customer experience before a couple of different times in different contexts and heard some stories and stuff, but it's every time I hear it, it's a constant reminder where I'm like, okay. And we're really good road marketing as well with customer experience and stuff, but I kind of envy you in some ways because you have physical, tangible things, whereas that gift goes further because it's I use this and I sit it down. And not to say a digital marketing company can't incorporate that kind of stuff. So I'm just coming up with excuses at this point. But
I'll fix your envy right now with this number.
Yeah.
What is a weekly expense of $3,245? Let's do it Jeopardy style.
Okay.
So a weekly expense of $3,245 related to what I do with the tangible item. What do you think that number is? What is the cost to operate a delivery truck with 2 competent individuals on it?
Yeah.
And that's the number.
Yeah.
It's a week.
Yeah.
$3,200 a week.
Yeah.
And I know that number because we had a conversation with a customer recently about a service that we had to discontinue. We discontinued doing it for free. We still offer it, but we just have to charge for it when diesel's $6.27 a gallon, gone up 50% in the last year, and will continue to rise this winter. It's just a simple reality.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you do great work. I'm a customer.
Yeah. You
can go to lessnormorecuddle.com to see some of Matt and his team's amazing work. So yeah, your experience is fantastic. I envy you because you don't have heat power lights of a big 10,000 square foot.
I have a $2,000 laptop that I'm looking at right now. I'm like, there's my business expense, on a one-time fee, and that's it.
Yeah, I have 5 computers. It seems I'm always replacing one or doing something. Well, between computers and tablets, something's always breaking. Something's always needing updated. Yeah. If the computers behave themselves this week, the truck doesn't.
Yeah.
If those things are great, then it's time for the roof to leak, and I'm a stickler for ceiling tiles being clean.
Yeah.
Right. Because think about it. People lay down on my product and they look up.
Yep.
And if you see a nasty, dirty, water-stained brown ceiling tile,
I'm thinking the mattress has probably got something like that on it that I don't see or might see soon or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bigger subconscious is if they don't take care of their own place where I can see it, how are they going to conduct themselves in my private bedroom?
Yeah. True.
Right? Which is why I say I do business in your bedroom. And I remind people of that.
Yeah.
We take this serious. That's a private, personal space.
Yeah.
it's odd that two strangers, you just open your door and they walk into your bedroom.
Just up the steps and in the bedroom. Yeah.
Right. It's like your family doesn't go in your bedroom. Your mom and dad don't. Like, just as a societal norm.
Yeah.
No judgment if you have people coming into your bedroom, and do what you want, but as a societal norm, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we take all of that serious, and we always think about it. And I think as we look to, I think we're looking to wrap up our time.
Yeah, a couple minutes.
Really, if I could leave anybody with something, it would be push outside of your industry norm, right? That contrarian viewpoint, and really look to orchestrate something special. Build it small and then build on it. Like, think about that grand vision and then start with a couple action points and then build. Get your team executing, first couple steps, add two more.
Yeah.
Execute those, add a few more. I mean, our internal sales process is 14 pages long.
Whew.
As we walk any customer through our store, it's 14 pages.
Wow.
Just presenting our adjustable bed bases have 12 points we have to hit on.
Yeah.
Okay. So think about that orchestration. Put that Zig Ziglar presentation of pots and pans on the kitchen table and on the floor on your mind. And think about how you would orchestrate something special that at the same time gives benefit to the prospect, the patient, the person in front of you.
Yeah.
Because if it's just all about you, it's going to fall apart immediately.
Yep.
You'll get no buy-in from your team. They'll be fearful of it. They'll go away from it. And then you're just butting heads with your team. But create that, and really it comes down to affirmation, education, affirmation that you're the choice, which I think is the way to go. And the too much information at people's hands and good information at their fingertips, as it should be in this age.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I would leave you with.
Jeff, where can people find you online? Where do you want to, I know you got the Big Ticket Life, you got your Gardener's Mattress and more, you got your personal stuff. I'll share some notes in the video when I upload it to YouTube, but while people are watching, where can they connect with you?
Yeah, the simplest way is thejeffg.com.
Beautiful.
So it's kind of like a Linktree site. You can connect with Gardener's Mattress and more on there if I can help you that way. If you want to check in on what Signer 57 is doing, which is Matt and I's project, I'm repping one of the Signer 57 gear.
I will take the arrows.
That's right. That's my favorite design. I'm willing to stand out front, stick my chin across the line, and fight for what's right. That site's kind of like choose your own adventure. So however you want to connect with me, there's no shortage of options to do so. thejeffg.com.
Awesome, man. Well, appreciate you, my friend. This has been fun for the audience out there. If you watch this and you grabbed an insight, or you think, hey, you know what? My friend who runs a retail shop or any kind of business, they could learn something from this. I'd appreciate it if you share it. I'm sure they would appreciate the share because a ton of value was dropped here. So Jeff, thank you very much. Everybody out there, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the battlefield.